Yeah, okay, guys. Welcome to our today's class. Hope you did all your assignments, and if you are not done, make sure that you are going to finish before 12, right? And we are going to move forward. We are doing now chapter 3, right? Hope tomorrow morning we are going to be done, or later today, right? Yeah. Let me try to share my screen in order for you to see what we are going to do like today. Yeah. We are going to talk about OSI model, right? OSI model, right? So there is one of the model that we call OSI, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean? It's written there. It's open systems interconnections, right? But shortly, what does it mean? Right? You know, when you design your network, right? For you to understand how those devices will communicate, you can follow a specific model. There is a model that will show you how computers can talk, right? So this model will help you guys to understand how computers can talk. This is the meaning of this model, the OSI, right? Shortly. So it's just a model that will explain like to you how computers can talk, how devices can talk, how your computer can talk to another computer, right? This is the meaning of this model. Did you understand? It's a conceptual model. We call it conceptual model. Right? Any question? Before even moving forward? Very clear, right?
No, I am.
Don't memorize.
You want him to?
Don't memorize longer or long definitions, right? For you to understand how computers talk, there is one of the model, right? That model will try to explain like to you how the communication happens between computers, right? And for you to understand how computers can talk, they divided that communication in how many layers? 7 layers. Did you understand? For us to understand how devices can talk, like in your network, this guy, they divided this type of communication by using 7 layers. So what does it mean? For your computer to talk to another computer, there are 7 layers. For your phone to chat with your friend, there are 7 layers. All right? Did you understand this concept? It's very easy, right? Now, I'm gonna start from the 7 layer up to the first, right? Number 7 is what? Application. So the 7 layer for the OSI model is what? Application layer. They will ask you this question. Sometimes just know the numbers. Layer 7, name is the application layer, right? So what does it mean by the application layer, right? This guy who developed these models, right? What they said, for 2 computers to talk, first, you as a human being, you must go maybe to Chrome, right? First, you must start what? Chrome. So you have to talk to network applications. Did you understand? For you to access, or maybe for you to send a message, what you're gonna access first? Yeah, you have to go to Chrome, huh? Yeah. Application layer. So mean user interaction with what? Interaction with yeah, network applications such as Chrome, right? This is the first step when you want to communicate to your friend. You must use like WhatsApp. WhatsApp is an application, it's a network application, right? Did you understand there at the back? So if you are doing your own thing, there are so many questions they are asking from this part only. You can find even 5 to 10 questions just to this small table. Sometimes they're gonna ask you just the meaning. Sometimes they're gonna ask you the number, which layer is number 7, right? As I said, the meaning of layer 7, the application layer is what? User interaction with what? Network applications, right? Because you have to access a network application first, right? Like WhatsApp, like Facebook, like, right? Like Chrome. Now, when you access your Chrome, what you're gonna do? You have to start what? Typing or searching, right? Now there is a layer that will make sure that you are going to type by following structures. That layer is what? Presentation layer, right? So when somebody will access like Chrome, this is the responsibility of the application layer. So after that, you have to start what? Typing, right? This is the responsibility of the presentation layer. Number 1 is what? Formatting, right? A data compression. So the presentation layer will also make sure that your data will be small by compressing it, by translating it again to what? To a computer language, and by encrypting, right? So the presentation layer will make sure that your data will follow correct structure, right? When you are typing your stuff there at the back, there is an application that you cannot see. There's a layer that you cannot see. That will make sure that you are following the correct structure. So whatever that you are typing will be in a correct format, right? This is the meaning, right? Guys, are you with me? This part is very tricky. If you don't understand it, they will ask you one of the questions. Which OSI model will be responsible of compressing data or encrypting data? Yeah. You understand? Now, when you are done with typing and so on, right? You have now to click on send. You have to send your message, right? Now, for you to send your message, there must be a road that's gonna be open. There must be like a virtual channel that's gonna be like open between your computer and that other computer. There must be a virtual path. We call it a session. There must be a session. Session management. So this session layer will make sure that that road is open between those two devices. So session management means like opening of the session, like opening the door so that the message will flow. And when your message will flow, the session management will do what? Will close again. So opening of the connection and closing of the connection. So I'm gonna open like the door so that that message will flow. So after that, I have to close it. Beside that, there's also what? Authentication and authorization. Right? So this layer will be responsible of all those things, making sure that you are allowed to send your message, right? Your computer is authenticated, because if you're not in the same network, it will kick you out. The message will never go, and so on. Right? They will ask you these simple questions. So session management means opening of the session and closing of the session, or opening of the connection and closing. Like opening the door and closing the door, right? So that layer will make sure, okay, let me, I see. Right?
Yes.
So this is the meaning. So, right? So this is how the communication happens. So first, you access a network application like Chrome. There's an application layer gonna make sure that you are going to access it properly. So after that, you start typing. There is a layer that we call the presentation layer that will make sure that your data follow proper structures by compressing again and encrypting. When you are done there, there must be an open channel for your data to flow, right? And there is a layer that's gonna be responsible of that, the session layer, right? Now the row is open, right? What's next now, right? Your data from the presentation layer will flow to the transport layer, right? So data will flow like this. From the session layer, because now the road is open, right? Data now will come. From the transport layer, this transport layer will do what? Will do what we call segmentation. Segmentation means what? Splitting data into segment, right? So your message will be like one like this, right? Now this transport layer will make sure that your data will be split, right? So your data will be split into segment, right? And this transport layer will also make sure that you are sending what? You are sending by using like proper speed, by checking also the errors. So speed control, like error detection. Maybe if there's a problem, this transport layer will see like there's a problem and fix it, right? Maybe if you are sending large amount of data, this transport layer will do what? Will reduce it. So flow control of this. All right? So this is the responsibility of the transport layer, right? So data will be divided, right? In different parts. Those parts, we call them what? Segment, right? And this transport layer will assign us what we call port number, right? Every small message will have a port number. That port number will identify which application you want, which service you are looking for. But you're gonna see them later on, all right? So port number is the transport layer that will assign, but you're gonna understand what does it mean by port number. For those who are writing, port number means this, shortly, right? Any services that you are using in your computer, so your computer, your operating system will have so many services, right? Those services, they will have specific number. Like maybe for emails, maybe it's port 25. For web pages, maybe it's port 80. So for every service, there's a number, right? That number will allow you to identify it. You can block like an application just by using a specific number. That number, we call it a port number. Just a way to identify services, right? But don't mind them. Now, when your message, like after being split, right? Your errors being fixed, your message will move to the network layer, right? So the network layer now will say, okay, where are you going now? Which family are you going? Which network are you going? Location. This is the mean. This network layer will make sure that data now will go to the correct destination. By adding what? By adding an IP address. Because if there is no that IP address, where your message will go. So the job of the network layer is to identify which network this message will be going, this small segment, right? So after adding the IP, the network layer also will do what? Will split again those segments into packets. So those small, right? And the network layer will divide them again into what? Packets. So, you do understand? So your message from the transport layer, we call it segment. Your message from the network layer, we call it what? Packet. There's a question on that. Like that. So your message from the transport layer, we call that message segment. That's a name. When your message will move to the network layer, we call it what? Packet, right? So the job of network layer is to add what? The IP addresses in order for your message to reach the correct destination, right? You understand? So you as a technician, when you have Chrome like problems or WhatsApp problems and so on, you will know that you are in which layer? Layer 7. So if you master this one like properly, you know this table, a troubleshooting will be very easy for you, right? Because we are learning at every layer what can happen there. Now, when you are done, you said, okay, the network layer will say, okay, this is your IP, you will go to this building, you will go to this network, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm going to go to this network, to this family. But there are so many ladies. Which lady am I gonna marry now? There are so many ladies. You don't tell me which one. You just tell me the family name, right? Now, the data link layer will tell you which lady you are looking for by precising what? MAC address, the physical address. Did you understand? Very easy. This is how the communication happens. MAC address, right? You told me you a network layer, which family I must go, but I'm looking my wife there. How will I know that this is my wife? By checking her unique physical number, right? So that number We call it what? MAC address. So this data link layer will add what? Will add to that message what? Some information related to data to MAC address. So when the message will come, the network will be there. So I'm gonna just add. I say, okay, go to this family, but this is the computer I'm looking for. Go to this computer. That way you can see somebody from the US will send you an email, but that email will come to you straight. Right? So those protocols, those software, they are following those rules, the way they made them, like this, right? Now, I found my wife now, right? I know where is my wife now. How am I gonna reach there now? How am I gonna reach there, right? So I must use what? Transmission medium. So this is the last layer, transmission media. So your message will be converted like into bits and travel. Did you understand? Now, when you have like cable problems and so on, you will know that you are in physical layer. Like connectors problems and so on, physical layer. MAC address problems, data link layer. IP address problems, you are in transport layer. As I said, to summarize myself, right? This OSI model will explain how the communication happens between devices, right? They tried to explain like to us how computers can talk, how devices can talk like in a single or multiple networks. They said, okay, for us to understand this, we have to split this communication in 7 steps or layers. The first layer will deal with the network applications, like Chrome, like Outlook, and so on, right? So the user needs first to access the network applications. So you're gonna click there. And the layer that's gonna make sure that you are going to access it properly, it's the application layer. When you access there, you're gonna start type and so on, right? There is a layer that's gonna make sure that your data will follow certain structures. Not only that, your message will be formatted, compressed and encrypted, changing the form because your message will flow between devices, right? After that, your message needs to flow, right? But there must be a layer that's gonna be responsible of opening that road, that channel, right? So the session layer will do that. We'll open the road. When you are done, the road will be closed. So we call it session management. Beside that, the session layer will check if your computer is authorized to do what? To send. This is the meaning of authentication and authorization. After that, your message now will flow by using the session layer, right? From the presentation, your message will flow. By reaching the transport layer will take your message, that's one message, divided in a smaller one, right? So after dividing them, your transport layer will check, maybe there are some errors, right? And fix them, right? And checking what? Like the size, maximum size or minimum size of your messages, right? After that, your message will flow to the network layer. The network layer will assist by locating, by identifying which network you belong to, which network this message wanna go, by adding what? By precising the IP address. So after that, the data link layer will now say, okay, we know the network because you added already the IP, but which computer am I looking for? Which phone am I gonna send this WhatsApp message? The data link layer will do what? Will add a physical number, right? Your physical number for your phone or for your computer. It depends on the device that you are using. Now, when I know your network, I know which device, but I have not to think. So am I gonna use wireless, wired, fiber, or so on, right? This is the responsibility of the data, the physical layer, right? The cabling and so on. This is how this model works. Now, when you have a problem, maybe there's a network problem here, right? When you're still a beginner, you have to start following this model. You said, okay, let me start first from the physical layer, right? So you're gonna check the connect, like the cable, the ports, and so on, right? When you are done with the cabling, you can move to data link layer by checking the MAC address, right? Or the network interface card, if the MAC address is working properly and so on, right? When you are done there, you can move to IP. Yeah. After that, you can move to transport layer. So after that, until you will fix the issue. But most of the guys, if you don't know like this model, when there is a problem, you're gonna just go, hey, why computers cannot talk? Hey, I'm not connected to the internet. You must think. So this model must come to your mind. Okay, let me first check the cabling. So the connectivity, is it correct, right? When you are done there, it's okay. Sure. Okay, let me go to data link layer. Let me check the MAC addresses. So you're gonna see that you won't even gonna finish those 7 layers. Maybe from the second layers, you are done. You solve the problems. But if you don't understand, like theoretically, how devices talk, you're gonna start going left and right when it comes to troubleshooting. Most of the guys don't follow this model. So they don't even know how this model works and so on. So they're just fixing like, the issues by their own thinking. But if you can understand this, when there is a problem, you will know exactly what to do, all right? Now, there are 4 columns here that I've put it here, right? So number, a layer, a definition, and protocols, right? There are some protocols that will work in every layer. Like layer 7, they are software, right? Or protocol. Now, your responsibility, when you're gonna be free, you just feel, for me, be stable. And there are different devices that works in different layers, like a switch. Okay, I'm gonna give you just one, but others are gonna search yourself. A switch works where? Layer 2 switches, here. So when you have a switch problem, especially layer 2, because there are 2 types of switches. When you have a layer 2 switch problem, you will know that you are in which layer? You're in layer 2, because a switch is a device that works in layer 2. Now you as an exercise, you're gonna feel for me all the devices that works in different layers and the protocols, the software. So the programs that works in application layer, network applications, what are the protocols? You're gonna just feel there, right? And there are so many questions as I told you, right? And there are so many resources that you can go and check, right? But they are easy. Just understand that first, okay, This one, it's when you wanna start from layer 7, right? When you are sending a message. But the person who's receiving will start from where? From layer 1, from physical layer and up to, right? So up to is gonna go and open the message and start reading it. So the one who's receiving gonna start by layer 1, like up to the applications, right? Okay, I think for the first part for this morning, we are done. You finish up with your assignments and you go back here. I'm gonna just come and pick you up. Say, okay, you layer 7. Go there, you're gonna present about protocols and devices. And I'm gonna ask you questions and so on. So I won't gonna say which one I'm gonna pick up, but 7 guys, they are there. Right? So they are very, very not difficult because you got like all the resources, right?